Good morning.
Good morning.
Cut each other off there.
Just jumping right in today.
Jumping right in.
Yeah.
We're on episode 29.
Can you believe it?
I'm 29.
You are 29.
Yeah.
It's happy birthday anniversary
Thanks.
podcast day.
You know how like the 29 thing, people are like, oh, I'm 29 again?
Yep.
I wonder how that originated. Is it 'cause people don't want to move on to their 30s?
Great question. Couldn't tell you.
I'm excited for my 30s.
Yeah.
I feel like I hear friends saying, oh, we're getting to 30, but I feel like I'm just ready.
What are you excited for?
Just to keep going. I don't know.
Okay.
I told Brian this the other day. I hope you don't take offense to this. I hope this is flattering.
Me personally?
You personally, because it was about you.
Okay.
I was talking to somebody, maybe Brian, and I was like, the fact that you and Chad are in your 40s,
Yeah.
and you're so youthful and just like friends of ours, makes me I'm not nervous for my 30s. I'm not nervous for my 40s. Like, I don't know. I feel like people are. When I was a kid, people in their 40s seemed definitely on the older side. But now it's like, I guess that's part of aging. But
I'm with you. And I think about this all the time about when I was a child and I looked at somebody who was like 45.
Yeah.
Literally, that's Chad next year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I'm also like, I'm just 2 years younger. So it's like, it is very bizarre.
Yeah.
To be in the stage of life when we were younger seemed so old.
Right.
And to also be like, what am I doing with my life?
There's also probably some 45-year-olds who seem older, like it's definitely taking care of yourself. And this is going to segue really perfectly into this little gift you brought to me.
Taking care of yourself.
So you brought me this book called Outlive.
Yeah.
Peter Attia.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about this book. I've heard him interviewed on a podcast.
Okay.
But did Chad just read this?
Chad just read it. And here's what's funny. He started this book in October.
Okay.
I have since we went to Las Vegas. Yeah. And he got that book at the airport. I got another book.
Yeah.
Since then, I have read 12 other books to his one, Outlive.
And this is the only book he's been reading?
He said it was very
dense,
scientific.
Yeah.
And so there would be terms where he'd like almost research, like he'd be reading it and he could only do it in small chunks. So good luck to you.
I'm going to do my best to get through it. I'm definitely on a big fiction kick right now.
Okay.
Because it's before bed, I'll read just like a fiction book, like a novel, and I'm really enjoying that. Totally. I haven't read any nonfiction this year, I don't think.
That's because that's not you previously.
No. Previously, I was all in on the self-help books.
For you. I am a very big fiction before bed fan.
Yeah.
I'm trying to segue away from like watching shows before bed to reading fun books.
Yeah. I do both.
So you shows and books. While you watch a show.
I'll watch a show while I'm doing emails. This is my typical evening routine these days. So let's say I finish work around 5 or 6. Yeah. Usually I'll either walk Stevie or do something. Brian and I will do dinner. We'll hang out for a little bit. We'll put on a show.
Okay.
Usually around 7 p.m. to around 8:30, I'm working. So I'm like catching up on emails, prepping for the next day while I'm watching a show. Okay. Here's the reason. If I just watch a show, I get really tired and I am very susceptible to falling asleep. So
that's what you should be doing.
Right? But it's 7 p.m. So if I'm like catching up on stuff, that helps me stay awake. I'm able to semi-focus on the show. This doesn't work for super intense shows I have to like pay attention to. Yeah. But it works for like a lot of the shows that we watch. Okay. So and then around 8:30 to 9, I'll like get ready for bed. I'll set up my clothes for the next day, do all that stuff, and then I'll read in bed. I'm trying to not be on my screen 30 to 60 minutes before bed.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Okay. The concept in my brain of opening a computer at 8 p.m. and trying to like work.
I don't do it every night, but I actually like it. It's emails for me. I mean, it depends. Like it's usually just kind of mindless catch up. Just like just getting through stuff, catch up from the day. Yeah. And it makes me feel better about the next day. Like the next morning, I don't have as much to do. Yeah. On the nights when I don't do this, the next morning I'm woken up. I wake up to a ton of emails. Sure. So like this morning I woke up at 4 because I was going to do this yesterday. Yeah. Last night I was going to catch up, and I was just like, I needed a day. I needed a night off.
Give yourself a day. Yeah. It's a Sabbath.
Yeah. So I decided to go to bed really early last night and wake up early this morning to catch up on emails.
So what's going to bed early? What time?
I was in bed like at 8, and I fell asleep by 8:45 probably. Yeah. I was reading.
At 4 a.m.
Yeah. I'm tired.
You guys have had a busy weekend.
It's been really busy.
Speaking of weekends, how was your weekend?
How was your weekend? Okay, so we haven't recorded in 2 weeks or 10 days or something. Yeah. Because we went to Whistler together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. I loved Whistler.
I loved it too. Have we traveled together? before. We did Portland, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if your daughters were there for that.
I would count that
because it's like a retreat thing.
Right. Yeah. I think, and then we've done. No, we haven't done. I was thinking we've done Anderson Island, but not really like a trip.
Right.
I've done like day stuff with you guys, but
did the Erskines not spend the night one night with us?
We've never done Island Palooza sleepover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great traveling with you guys. Great travel companions.
Totally. I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
Were you?
Only because I'm like, Erskines we can really come in and wreck a room pretty quick. I was nervous. You would be like, oh my gosh.
That if you would have like 5 years ago, that it would not that it would have bothered me, but I would have been more. It would have been more of a thing. I would have felt more anxious.
Yeah.
I've been able to get past that a little bit. Okay. Like I can, as long as I have a space of my own that I can control and I can keep that really orderly. I don't mind as much when like common areas are messy, and they weren't. Like it was totally fine.
Yeah.
I did clean up a couple times, but it was fine.
Sure you did. I'm sure you did. Yeah. No.
More so just consolidating baked goods into boxes and
baked goods every morning.
Oh my gosh, I had this on my list to talk about.
Okay.
That made me jealous of Chad. I felt jealousy because I love doing that. I love on vacation.
You want to be that.
I want to be that. I aspire to be that. I want to wake up before everybody else. Yep. I want to go on a walk. I want to be active. I want to go bring back things for people. And not that I do that every trip, but that is something I like to do.
Right.
But I was just so like jet lagged still in Whistler, so I was catching up on sleep. So every morning he did his walk. He brought us back coffee and snacks, and it was amazing. Loved it.
I appreciated that every morning bakery items changed.
Yeah, variety, 100%.
One was donuts, one was a variety of pastries, one was bagels.
Yeah,
it was great.
He's really Chad Erskine.
Don't be that jealous. I mean. It's also nice to be on the receiving end, just like accept the gifts and sleep in.
Yeah. This was your first time in Whistler, right?
First time in Whistler.
What'd you think?
I loved it. Okay, so for me, being in the village where there's no cars and and there's such wide streets and areas for you to just cruise around, that's the best situation to me. And so, and it was just, we got to do like hiking around a lake. We got to go to that train crash hike, and then to be able to do like family times and game nights, and then our scavenger hunt. Like it just was such a nice variety of like exploring, but then also spending like quality time with people. And, so to me, it was my only disappointment was Allie was so sick off and on. Like it was like she powered through the scavenger hunt day, but woke up like super feverish Sunday morning, and just I could tell she just wasn't in her element. So that was the only bummer.
It sucks being sick on vacation. I know. It really does.
Yeah. But otherwise, loved it.
Good stuff. And we won the scavenger hunt.
We did win.
We crushed. There were 4 teams, maybe 5. I think 4. And it wasn't even close.
Because there was
I think second and third place were kind of close, but we another level.
I don't want to brag, but literally crushed it.
I think we were down to like 3 remaining clues at the end, and it got a little stressful because we're like, we'd done everything else, and we like really made good progress, and then we still had 20 or so minutes left, and we need to find an American penny, we need to find a building for sale sign, and what else?
A police officer, and we never end up finding any of those 3. But it was kind of weird having all that time and like feeling helpless. Well, and we did take a picture of the moose sheriff, whatever that statue was. And then we did take a picture of a listing that was, I think it was like a not commercial, but maybe a multifamily.
Okay.
So we consider that. The thing that got me was the American penny.
Yeah.
And how incredibly difficult, like we could find, I guarantee you we'd walk out, it'd take us 2 seconds to find a penny outside.
Yeah.
But
we were in Canada.
We were.
We were in a different country.
Fair enough. But you would think we'd run into somebody who had one.
We asked quite a few people.
Yeah. I know.
So for anybody who hasn't done a scavenger hunt before, I'm sure it's self-explanatory, but my mom does these often. She plans them. I love that she does this. It's such a fun thing. I have so many memories doing scavenger hunts growing up.
I love it.
But we split up into teams. We had a list of, I don't know, maybe 50 things. Maybe more.
Well, and it was a combination of questions, right? Like
trivia,
true and false trivia.
Plus objects you had to find and have, and then things you had to take a picture of.
Right.
So, and we crushed.
And what a great, so this is like, she does this in towns that you guys have never been to. Like, will you guys go to a new place and she'll research?
Mostly Whistler. Yeah, so we went to Whistler a bit growing up, and this was always a Whistler tradition.
Okay, because in my head, I was like, this is how they explore town. Because she does research on like the history of the town.
Oh, yeah.
Has you go to specific landmarks and other things. Also, like safety. She's like, find the police department. I'm like, imagine it's like you're also teaching them where to go.
I'm trying to think of where else we've done them. We've definitely done one around Tacoma. We've done one around Seattle, Whistler. Maybe one or two others that I can't think of at the moment. But yeah they're so fun.
Yeah.
It's competitive.
I love it. Great. And then should we talk about like the Northern Lights that we saw?
Absolutely.
That was really
once in a lifetime. Yeah. It was crazy.
I loved because that night was the night we'd done games and then we were kind of just hanging out, hot tub pool.
Sauna.
I
died.
I should have warned you. Like, actually, if you have anything to drink alcoholic wise and then you get in the sauna, it's miserable. Like my heart does not handle it. So I should have been like, oh, you know what?
It's okay.
Try again.
I was competing with Chad because he had been in there because you lasted 15 minutes, I think. He was trying to get to 20, I think. And I'm like, I got at least as long as Jamie. I gotta go at least 15. And he stayed after 20. He stayed to like 23 or something. Crazy person. But I lasted the 15. I came out of the sauna and I was like, I felt like I was gonna pass out. Like I just sat there for at least 10 minutes, just like not talking to anybody.
What just happened?
And then after that, I was ready to go to bed. And my mom and Di were gonna go look for the Northern Lights because we heard about that it was gonna be a thing. And I'm like, I'm good. Like, if it's amazing, let me know. Call me and I'll rally. But I'm good. And they called me, and it was amazing.
It was crazy. And we were also in bed.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't get notifications after a certain time. Do you turn your phone off at a certain time in the evening? What's your time?
9 usually.
Okay, mine.
And I have it on the sleep mode after 9. Yeah.
Mine goes sleep mode 9:15.
Okay.
And so I usually don't even know if somebody's texted me. That. So I just happened to be looking, and I saw your text with a picture, and I showed it to Chad, and we were like, we're going.
It's one of those things you kind of have to do. Like it's never. I mean, the fact that people could see it here, like in Washington, like that's I don't know if ever in history. I don't know. We should look it up. Like it's never in my lifetime for sure. Has it been a thing here?
Right. Yeah. And just how bizarre that when you looked through your phone, took a picture, it was so much more vibrant than just looking with the naked eye.
That was crazy.
I was like, I'm really confused how this is happening. But
I've never seen anything like that where it's better on your phone.
Exactly.
And we were trying to find an area that was dark enough because everywhere we went there were street lights.
To commend whoever lit Whistler because they did a phenomenal job.
Felt very safe.
Very well lit.
Yeah, but it's the first time I've ever been. I guess if you're trying to look at stars, you're trying to be in a dark area, but I've never realized how many streetlights there are.
Yeah, there's an aggressive amount of streetlights.
So Northern Lights were amazing. Let's see. I had a note about when we first got there, when Easton and Piper were seeing each other for the first time. It's so funny with kids because they're once they like get past the initial shyness, they're like hitting it off.
Yep.
But there was a moment, and I was like totally observing it, where Piper and Easton, right when they saw each other for the first time, and they're great friends, but they were nervous to see each other. And Easton was like, wouldn't make eye contact, and Piper was trying to kind of like engage, but she was kind of shy too.
Sure.
And it's just such a funny dynamic.
It is, and it's that's a funny pair because we don't see each other all the time.
Yeah.
But when they do, they get along fabulously. So I do.
And they're the same age-ish.
I think Easton's a year younger.
Okay.
Pipes is 9 and Easton's 8.
Sounds right. Yeah, 2016. Yeah, that's
Piper's 25.
Yeah.
But I love that they have a blast together.
Yeah.
And they both, we just had a bunch of kids over this weekend, and it's really interesting, the dynamic of kids and how my kids react to the different dynamics of their friends.
Yeah.
And I really hope this friendship stays because it's such a sweet thing. And I just feel like they both enjoy like making fun videos together and going and playing. Like they could just do the same thing. They're both pretty, I feel like, easygoing as far as like, you want to go swimming? You want to go do this? Just do that? Like they're just easy peasy. So,
we had my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary last night, and Brian and I picked up Easton at their house because Finn was taking a nap, and we pulled up to my parents' house, and there was a car we didn't recognize. And he's like, "Is it the Erskine's car?" I was like, "Nobody is. I don't think they're coming."
Sweet.
But for a second, I'm like, "Is it?" Because it said something. There's like said fire on it. I'm like, "Did they get a new car?"
Yeah.
But I don't even know whose it was still. But
Interesting.
He was hoping for the Erskines.
I love it. That's really sweet.
So yeah, that was Whistler. It was an amazing weekend.
It was really great.
Yeah. I honestly didn't want to go because I was exhausted and had just gotten back from Japan like 3 days earlier. Right. But I decided to go because it was for Mother's Day and my mom's birthday, and I'm so glad I went. Like I had an amazing time.
Yeah,
it's great.
I'm glad you were there.
Me too. That was what else? Scavenger
hunt. What did you guys do? Anything Sunday? We bounced kind of early because Allie was pretty rough.
I hung out with Easton and Finn while they all packed up and got ready. Okay. First time I've ever like babysat the two of them together. So
really?
Never have. Time. I've still never changed a diaper. Still.
You know what? I was working the nursery at our church yesterday, and the gal I was working with was like, she's like, I don't know how to change diapers. So I was like, oh, so there are plenty of grown people, including women, who've never changed diapers. Yeah. So don't feel
but probably not
any way about that. I don't. Yeah, she's not a parent. Yeah, but neither are you. So
not a parent. No. I have. That's a lie. I've kind of changed Stevie's diaper.
Well, there you go.
When she had diapers, when she was in heat for the first time, we had little diapers for her.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a pro.
I'm a pro. Yeah. You could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the exact same. Tails.
Probably harder with a dog, actually. Okay, so that was the previous weekend.
Yeah.
How was this last weekend for you? Or anything else from the week you want to chat about?
Not too much from the week. I mean, it feels like it's been a great week. It's been busy.
Yeah.
At this time of year as a mom with just you've got kids in different grades, and they like to save everything for May.
Okay.
They just, it's all the end of year banquets, it's all
field
the awards things, field day, spring shows, spring concerts.
They both have the same last day of school, I'm guessing.
They both have the same last day of school. But they both have different activities, and so there's different things for each child every week. But it's fine. This last weekend we went to Radnor's grand opening.
Yep.
Absolutely delicious. Crazy, but what's
crazy
to be expected. I mean, right? That was I think it was like what a great problem to have that there were so many people here.
Yeah.
I was blown away.
That's my main goal for this week is to figure out how to get us a little faster.
Yeah,
which we got a few negative Yelp reviews after the thing, and I'm like, come on, we're giving away hundreds of free burgers.
Yeah.
So the main issue we had, and if we were to do it differently, so we gave out free burgers to the first 253 people.
Yeah.
What we didn't anticipate, and we probably should have anticipated this, is that all those people getting their free burgers are also going to place orders in addition to the free burgers.
Sure.
So our kitchen was just so behind because people would get their free burger and then they'd get 3 other burgers and the fries and beignets, and it just was like so much food.
Yeah.
And this was another thing. So that's one thing we figured out how to do differently is maybe have like a line. I don't know. Maybe just give out free burgers, then people can order separately.
Totally.
Maybe do it that way.
Yeah.
Other thing we would have done differently is done longer of a soft opening before the grand opening, because we only had like a day and a half of soft opening.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, everybody in the kitchen at the front has worked in restaurants before, so they know what they're doing.
Right.
But it would have been nice to have a little bit more, just like time under our belts at running Radnors.
Yeah.
So those are the two things. But the next 2 days were. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut into your weekend.
No. I'm glad. No, and we can go back and forth because you were there as well.
Yeah.
And I think, to preface like people's expectations, this is not a former restaurant owner opening another restaurant. Like this is the first time.
Yeah.
And like to me, yes, there was a long wait, but also like the prices are phenomenal.
Right.
The space was great. The evening activities and the host of, making sure things were kind of staying entertaining.
Yeah.
I just felt like it was really well done.
That's how I felt too, the entertaining. So Casey Catherwood kind of oversaw the planning of the night. And it was really like there were no moments where there was nothing happening.
Exactly.
Like it went from the little little speeches at the very beginning. Pretty much, people started getting their burgers. We did our ping pong tournament.
Yep.
We did we had live music outside. We ended up doing karaoke. Like there's always something happening, and it was like
tours.
Grit City did their presentation.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Is that how he is when he does?
He's great.
Tours?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I thought he was so funny.
I felt bad that people were talking still.
I always like that there.
Yeah.
When I've gone to the investment meetups, I feel like there's always that level of like it's such a big space,
right?
And because you're so far from the stage, you just feel like, oh, it's fine. We'll just keep doing our thing.
Yeah.
Because you don't feel as close and connected.
And we've gotten better with like the investor meetups and like people know to be quiet, but we should. I almost at some point, because I was watching, I'm like, I was so tempted to like grab a mic and be like, hey everybody, like let's give our attention to Chris. But at the same time, there are constantly new people entering the room who just ordered, so it's kind of a weird dynamic. But it was fun regardless. Yeah, it was a great night. I had a lot of fun. I think I told you or Chad at some point, like I think Chad, that I was really in like still in. I was having a hard time being present for the first half of it. Yeah. And then at some point that switched. I'm like, I'm just going to enjoy this and just like roll with the punches. And I had a lot of fun. Just like I was working in the kitchen a little bit. I was like handing out orders to people. Nice, that was one of the negative reviews is like at some point they were just yelling out people's names and their orders are ready when they told us that they'd be texting us. I'm like, I responded. Yeah. I'm responding very nicely to the negative reviews. I
got your response.
I responded and I was like, you were still getting the text messages, but we were calling out people's names as well, just in case they didn't see the text messages. But for that to be somebody's negative comment is that we were yelling out people's names.
They said one thing and then they did both.
What?
So they went above and beyond. How dare them?
But and then that became my goal for pretty much probably like 2 hours. Is I would go look for people who looked scrumpy, who looked like they'd been waiting for a long time. Yeah. I'd ask them for their name. I'd go check on their order, see what number in line they were. I'd move it up in line if we needed to. Like I would figure out how to appease everybody.
Let me ask you this. Have you worked in restaurants before?
I've never, and I really enjoyed it.
Did you?
It was very fun.
You think this is maybe like a career shift happening?
Maybe. We'll see in the works.
I've never, ever worked in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Is that surprising to you?
It is a little surprising.
Chad thinks I should work in restaurants. That I would just like schmooze people.
Yeah.
And be like,
you'd be great.
The thing is, I have an atrocious memory. So when I take their order, I'd be like, listen, I know your life story. I couldn't tell you what you want to eat today. Like I would forget.
I think that's fine though. So when I go to a restaurant and the waiter's like, oh, I have a good memory. Like I don't need to write it down. That makes me anxious.
I hate it.
Hate it. Can we have this be a PSA to the world?
No, I'm telling you, even if you can do it,
don't do it.
Because you're creating anxiety for everybody at the table. And then here's what I actually do. I alter mine because I'm like, well, I'm not going to give her too much to remember. Yeah. So if I wanted to make alterations to my order, I'm not going to do it anymore because I know you won't remember it.
Yep.
Well, she might, but
and every once in a while they get it right, but a lot of times they don't. And then it's like creating this awkward thing where I'm like, I don't like sending my food back, but I really don't like tomatoes. And if you add tomatoes, when I ask for no tomatoes, I don't want the tomato juices on my burger.
So funny story about that. We, on our way home from Whistler, we stopped at a restaurant in Fairhaven. Okay. Outside of Bellingham. And we go and we sit down, we order, and Chad does not like onions on his salad. Okay. Like the raw onions. He's like, no. So he makes it a point to say, please, no onions on the salad. Yeah. Well, it comes with onions. Yeah. Does he say, oh, I'm so sorry. I asked for without onions. Do you mind bringing out another one? No. Keeps his mouth shut. But what he does is he makes a tower with the onions. So like passive aggressive and like situates it so that when she comes to pick things up, that's what she sees.
Oh my gosh.
And then he won't say anything, but he'll look at the onions and he'll look at her and he'll look at the onion,
Did she comment
never, not.
That bugs me. Same thing. Because if I get something with tomatoes, I usually won't send it back. I'll just do the same thing. I'll put the tomatoes in a thing and the waiter or waitress will see it. And they won't apologize. I'm like,
put it on the bill.
Well, and I get to like, they probably just don't remember. They just like, they're getting so many orders. They probably just don't remember, but whatever. If you are a waiter or waitress, write down the things that people are ordering.
Just pretend. Even if you just pretend you're doing it so I don't get so nervous.
One time I was in Nashville with a large group. I think there were 12 of us. And we're at a restaurant and the guy's like, he said, I got it. Like he's like, I'm not going to write these down. It was the most impressive thing I've ever seen.
He did
because he got them all perfect. Wow. But he wasn't even the one who delivered the orders. Other people, like other staff at the restaurant, delivered the orders to the table and didn't ask who had the chicken sandwich, who had the salad. Yeah. They knew where to put them on the table.
Yeah, I think there's like a code. I think they do it by seat.
Yes, but for him not even to be involved with the delivery of it, and for everything to be perfect, it wasn't written down. So I'm guessing he wrote it down when he got to the back and put which seat each person was in. But it was just so impressive to me. Like our group was very large and we had a lot of customizations and he got them perfect.
I wonder what's the thought behind it? Do they think it's faster? Like it's going to take too much time to write it down. So they think if I just memorize it, I
think it's an ego thing a little bit. Okay. Maybe. I mean, probably it's different per person. Maybe some people have a really good memory or I don't know. I think people that have been in the restaurant industry for a while, they take pride in their ability to not write things down, which I get. Like it's cool if you get it right, but it's the same thing. I change my order a lot of times if they're not writing it down. Like I won't ask for the extra sides of aioli that I really want to order. I really want this aioli, but I don't want to give you 8 things.
No, because you're going to put onions or tomatoes on my stuff. Yeah.
Pet peeves in life.
That was a big. Okay, Radnor.
I need to have empathy though. Now as a restaurant owner, I need to.
Now that you've experienced it. Yeah. I mean, that's got to be. And the thing is, this is what's a bummer. Is like I know in the beginning when people were waiting, because some people got there at like 2 something. I heard, and we didn't open till 5.
Yeah.
That like people are going out and like handing waters. Like I know Aaron and your mom were handing out waters to people, and I think your grandpa bought extra fries and we're trying to give people stuff.
Yeah.
So if you were one of those who received that kind act of water or free fries or something while you're waiting, I feel like you would be like, oh, they really tried. But there was a few people who they didn't see that side of things, and then they choose to go and write about it. Which
and I mean, I could see from their perspective, like they waited in line for 2 hours and then they finally ordered, and then they had to wait for another hour for their food. Like that's a long time to wait for food. If you're hungry, if you're, people.
I get it. Yeah. No,
I get hangry when I'm hungry, so I get that. So
people were hangry.
Yeah. So we really tried to make it, to do what we could to make it as good as possible.
Well, the good thing is, moving forward, you'll probably never have an evening or a thing that's that hectic. You know, that was like extreme.
Yeah. So. We're getting better. That's my main priority for this week.
Getting better every day, folks.
Making sure we have all of our menu items available, and fast food times.
Fast food times.
Yeah. But yes, very fun night.
That was great. So that was my Friday. Saturday we had a bunch of kids over Saturday evening. So Saturday morning, I was like, we're like cleaning and preparing. I don't know why we choose to like deep clean our house before, and for teenagers and for little kids. Like we should just plan to deep clean after post production, because it's quite a mess afterwards. So Saturday there was a school play that the girls wanted to go and see. So what we did is we invited friends to go with us to the play, and then after that we all went and came back to our house and had a sleepover.
What was the play?
It was High School Musical.
Oh, nice.
It was adorable. So we did that. Chad went golfing. He's like, I'm going to be out of here. So he went golfing while I took the girls. After the play, I took them to Hobby Lobby to get some craft things. So we have activities for the evening. And I'll tell you what, I was a little bit, so there was 4 teenage preteen girls and then 2 like 9-year-olds. And the preteens were intense. Like they were, so much energy. They were playing this game that I was a little bit like, they were like throwing insults at each other and trying to come up with like clever comebacks, but it just felt like, it feels like we're getting a little bit personal, like, well, Alice, you're so short, and like then she'd have to and they pretended to be different people. Like there was like a Jessica and Brenda or some like different names, and they were like insulting that person, but they would use like Allie's insecurities, and I was like, oh gosh. And it was one of those things as a mom where I'm like listening, and I don't want to be the one who's like, girls, that is not nice, stop, right, and like super reprimand, but I'm also like, this feels like it's like getting hurtful.
So did you turn it around like, you're so cool that you can't even go to school?
Austin, you need to be a dad, because I should have done that. And the fact that you think of that is amazing. I did not. I drove awkwardly in silence and kind of like, kept looking around like, is everybody feeling okay? I did at one point pull Allie and one of the other girls aside and was just like, hey guys, I want to be careful that like some of the girls are like, we don't always hang out with them. So just be mindful. Nobody feels left out or hurt. There's one girl in particular who doesn't always like hang out with this group. So I was like, I just don't want her to feel like on the outs. So and eventually it did stop, but it was just one of those things where I'm like, as a mom, I feel like I want to be a fun house that has kids over all the time and that we're doing exciting things. But there's like a fine line between letting them live their life and play these games and then also intervening and trying to be like the mom, not the friend, but the mom. And that can be a hard thing for me, especially in this age range. First of all,
it's like Regina George's mom and Mean Girls. She's like trying to be cool like them, and she just lets them do whatever they want.
I know. I'm like, that is the challenge. And especially as my kids are getting older and I'm like, oh, we can joke around. I can tease these girls in the same level, we'll like drive by some like rough looking dude and I'll be like, oh, so-and-so, your boyfriend need a ride? We can like joke like that. But then they start slinging insults and I have to turn on the mom switch and be like, oh, you can't do that. It's just like, I don't know. It can be a tough call. Anyways, that was Saturday. We did just like they actually love the pool and sauna back and forth thing. So they do their own little, what do you call it?
Rotation.
Heat therapy.
Oh yeah.
What is
the
that called?
cold, hot.
Yeah. That's that. So that was cute. And then Sunday we took everybody to church in the morning, and then after that we went to Toast Me for lunch. That's that's one of our favorites after.
I've only been there once, and I really liked it.
It's really good.
It's great. You get a bowl?
I do a bowl. I share a bowl with Allie.
Nice.
And then we went down to Reston. It was such a pretty afternoon. We kind of walked. We had tickets for a movie that started at 1:15.
Okay.
But we got there at like 12. So we had like a whole hour to kill. So we just went to the water and like kids were throwing rocks in the water. I'm just like, just a really peaceful, like kind of, I don't know, just a moment.
Nice.
Resetting our soul after the chaotic sleepover. And then we went and saw If.
Okay. The Imaginary Friend.
Yes, with Ryan Reynolds.
Is that animated?
It's it's real, but they have imaginary friends that look animated.
Okay.
So it's like a mix of people. It was sweet. It was a little bit heavier than I anticipated it to be. So we were all shedding some tears at one point. But the girls loved it. It was really, really cute. And then that afternoon got home and it was pretty nice out. So we ended up just doing like more swimming and deck time, and Chad grilled some steaks. And
nice.
Do you ever get food from Harbor Greens?
I've been in there a couple times. Okay. I don't have one near me. So
yeah.
They have a great sandwich area, right? I've gotten a sandwich there before.
Pizza. I'll do a little plug for them because we go and we'll go to their like meat section. And we got this really nice marinade. Actually, Eric, we've had them over for dinner, and they like will drive from Puyallup to Harbor Greens for this meat and this sauce. It's like a Calbee beef marinade. It's like on tri-tip. It's kind of like a, I don't know, sweet and tangy type flavor.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we get that. We get 2 side dishes from the deli of like fresh greens and salad, and it's like $30 out the door. And I'm like, a protein and 2 sides for $30 for our family feels really reasonable.
Yeah.
So I just want to be finding more deals like that.
That's great.
So if we ate like that every night, we would save on our grocery budget.
Yeah. It's a local family that owns that, right?
I'm pretty sure.
I think I met him at one point, but it's that one, and then there's a Gig Harbor as well.
Gig Harbor
okay, cool.
Yeah. So, and I don't know. No, that's Tacoma Boys. I was like, there's another store down in Lakewood, that H&L Market.
Yes.
I think that's connected to Tacoma Boys.
Are they the same owner as Tacoma Boys?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
Shop local, guys.
Anyways, listen, Harbor Greens, well done. I think that was it.
So you grilled the steaks Sunday night.
Chad grilled the steaks. I sat and I'm reading a book right now.
Nice.
And I sat out there and was reading that. Yeah.
Are you gonna read Outlive?
I will not. Absolutely not. But I'm excited because what I enjoy is being around people who do read those books and then just taking the highlights.
Right.
So I would be really curious to hear what your takeaways are.
Okay.
It was interesting.
I'll let you know in November.
I'll see you next winter. It was interesting. I don't want to give too much away, but some of the like, health benefits, but then towards the end goes into a little bit more of like the mental health and like having a sense of purpose and community.
Nice.
And I just love that always comes back to that. Like you can do all these things to biohack, but if you don't have a sense of community and purpose in life.
Ikigai.
Yeah. Anyways, that was my weekend.
Love it.
Yeah. How about you?
Friday night was Radnor's opening. Talked about that.
How long were you there till?
I was there until 11-ish, I think. I think we shut down at 10, maybe 11:30. I was there pretty late. I was tired. Yeah. Actually, I wasn't tired. I was very energized. It was very fun. Tired when I got home. I passed out immediately when I got home. Yeah. So that was Friday night. Saturday morning, I went to the gym, and then I had a funeral for my 3rd grade teacher. Yeah, so her name is Mrs. Clifford, and she's one of my favorite teachers I've ever had. And she was I think around 60, and kind of just tragically died very suddenly.
Oh my gosh.
So she, very weird. I still don't know how. But,
okay.
yeah, so her funeral was on Saturday, and found out about it. My friend Gabby, she's one of my great friends growing up, through 8th grade, and because we went to the same school. So when I was 3 years old through 8th grade, I went to the same school,
right? Okay,
Brook Lake, and the funeral was at Brook Lake. So it was my first time being back since 8th grade, I think. So very nostalgic. Was it? Very weird. A lot of the school, because it's a school/church. Yeah. A lot of the school was exactly the same, and then there's some areas that they built out, like a whole new wing and a new chapel and stuff. So very weird mix of remembering what things used to be, and then also like me and then 3 or 4 other friends that I grew up with who I haven't seen in years, all were there, and we walked through like down the hallways and just like so nostalgic. That's kind of fun to be able to walk through and reminisce. Yeah, the whole ceremony was very, I mean, people were crying obviously, but it was very hopeful and just very sweet. And after I stayed for a couple hours after the ceremony, there's a reception and just like talking with people about people had like pictures of our class photos from 3rd grade, and just like, was she still teaching at that school? She was not. No. So she was not still teaching, but the assistant teacher from when I was there, she had worked there for like 22 years or something. She's not there anymore, but she spoke at the funeral. Yeah. And is it a funeral or memorial? Do you know what the difference is?
Ooh, I want to say memorial is like
at the site at the.
That's a great question.
I know celebration of life is kind of what they're called nowadays, but I don't know. I was trying to think of what to call it. Yeah. Huh. But anyway, so she spoke during the ceremony, this assistant teacher, Mrs. Kahone, and she's awesome. And I gave her a big hug afterwards. But her and then others, like the teacher that taught me when I was 4 years old, Mrs. Studley, was there. Oh. And I don't think I've seen her since I was 4, maybe 5 years old. Yeah. So 25 years. And she like remembered me somehow.
Is she married?
She's not married. I actually don't know.
Mr. Studley, what a cool name would that be?
You know what? I think she is married. Yes, she talked about her husband. Yeah, she is married. But yeah, and she's one where I don't know. As a kid, I remember her looking seeming so old to me. Yeah. And now she's seeing her 44. 25 years later, she's not. 25 years later, she doesn't look that old. So yeah, it's just weird.
She's read Outlive.
Probably.
She's biohacking.
Yeah, but it was a very nice time just being there. That's great. Yeah, it's just a lot of people haven't seen him forever and very nostalgic. Have you been as an adult back to like your school or?
This is what's funny because mine was in California. Okay. And when so remember I grew up in California, but then I moved to North Carolina because my parents moved while I was in college. Okay. So then before coming to Washington, we were in North Carolina for about 7 or 8 years. So it's this weird, like when I go back to like, I hadn't been back to my hometown to be with my family since I was a junior in college. So it feels like that was a really long time ago. Yeah. What's funny is I do see sometimes pictures from my high school and they've done similarly where they've built new out. I'll be like, what is that? Where are they? And it's like some amazing new structure they built. So it's been a long time. My 2 best friends I've known since the 1st grade, we've talked about doing a like San Jose reunion where we go back to like our old elementary school, and middle school and high school and just tour around. But yeah, it's been a really long time. And what's funny here, living in Washington, I don't ever run into anybody that I knew from before. So it's like a totally different life here.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Nostalgia is weird. I feel like I don't have moments that often that feel so nostalgic. But the weird part to me is like how it's been so many years since I've been to that school and it's just still there. Like still going. Life goes on. The playground was exactly the same. Oh, wow. The hallways where the classrooms are on were exactly the same. Like it's just still every year it just keeps going on and on and on.
Bringing new kids in. It's crazy.
It's great. It was so weird. Love it. But yeah, so did that. What else was I gonna say? Oh, everything felt smaller. Like I
tracks.
Yeah, I walked by like the lunch room where I'd always get the chocolate milk cartons, and I walked by it and because I was in the section of the school church that had been remodeled, and that was where I started. And I walked by the lunchroom and it looked exactly the same, and I was like, holy cow! And yeah, it felt very small. As a kid, it felt just like this big kitchen and I don't know.
Okay,
weird.
it's funny because I was just listening to Armchair Expert and they were talking about like school lunches and like their experiences of like, did you get hot lunch? And Dax was saying how he was so envious of other kids' lunches.
Yeah, he'd beg people for their leftovers.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was cracking up.
I remembered similarly. I think earlier on I was like that, and then when I got older, I started doing like the hot lunches.
Okay.
But not every day. I was jealous of the friends or the kids in my class who got hot lunch every single day.
Yeah.
That was just like, but I think I did like,
you got your chocolate milk every day.
Would not every day, but so they'd release the schedule for lunches. And I think my parents would say, you get to pick like 8 or 10 for the month or something. So I got to pick and choose which ones I wanted. And then I'd bring my own lunch for the other day. So I was nice.
Very similar to Monica. I can't remember school lunches
really
at all. I have a little bit more of like high school and like maybe doing more hot lunches, but I don't remember like.
Would you say you're food motivated in general?
Okay, does that mean like, because there's like people say like
food motivated.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure.
Would you say you are
how people say
always thinking about your next meal?
People say I eat to live or I live to eat.
Yeah.
And I don't really get which one's what it's meant to be, but I love eating. I am
live to eat.
Food motivated.
Yeah.
Like a good meal is a good time to me. That's
I was wondering. I'm the same, and I was wondering if there's any correlation between someone's love for food and whether or not they remember their school lunches.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I remember our hot lunches weren't great. Like we would have these like giant burritos, or we'd have
was it like a cafeteria?
Pizza. No, it was like there was like
Egg
a walk-up
lunches?
window, and you would like take your food. And I just remember eating outside. It's California
On a tray.
Listen, you're asking a lot of details. I already told you I'm not good with memories.
Because a lot of schools have like the cafeteria where you like have a few different options.
Oh,
for us, it was hot lunch, but it was the same for everybody. So they'd release the calendar for the month, and it'd be like Monday is, and a lot of times they did fast food. So Monday is Arby's, Tuesday is
Arby's?
Whatever else. Like it was, I'd say maybe.
Are you kidding me?
Maybe
curly fries?
half the days were fast food, but it'd be a set meal. So everybody who orders hot lunch gets the same thing. For that day.
Right. Like Tuesdays were the burritos, and there's Thursdays for pizza. I'm sorry, I am incredibly jealous that you had Arby's. That was one of my favorites.
I think we had Arby's. We for sure had Burger King, like chicken tenders, chicken nuggets.
Brooklake?
At Brooklake, yeah.
This is so cool. I'm really jealous.
Your girls could do hot lunch at Life Christian?
So Pipey does Thursday pizzas.
Okay.
But for them, there's not a lot on the menu that they love. It looks great. What's funny is I was a substitute teacher for about 3 days at Annie Wright, and I went to their cafeteria, and it was phenomenal. I was almost like, I'll work here for this
for the free food.
And then my friend works at Mount Tahoma, and every time I'm in that cafeteria area, I mean, it's like Tex-Mex, salad bar. They have like multiple stations. I'm like, what is going on?
And it's a perk of a bigger school. I feel like the bigger the school is, the more lunch options you probably have available.
Yeah, but Arby's.
Yeah. I know some schools like in the South have like Chick-fil-A in their school cafeterias, which is crazy.
Absolutely amazing. No, we did not have that.
Okay, so that was we did that. It was very nice to see people, and just it was a lot of memories I haven't thought of in a long time that were stirred back up. And then went and stopped by Radnor's just to check on things, make sure everything was going well. I ended up staying for a couple hours and just helping with some stuff,
food,
a little bit,
moving people up in line.
Yep. And then went from there. It was kind of a last minute thing, but a couple friends were going to the Sounders game.
Oh, fun!
So I drove up to Seattle and parked in Pioneer Square, went to dinner, and then went to the Sounders game. Awesome. I've only been to 2 Sounders games. First one was 0-0. Mm-hmm. Second one is 1-1. Mm-hmm. So both games were ties. Mm-hmm. This one was actually an upset. So like at the very end of the game, I'm not going to get the terminology right, but there was some sort of penalty, which was people were like very upset about.
Probably off fields.
Yeah, very controversial. Offsides.
Just making up things.
There was some sort of, I don't know what it was, but people were like yelling like, this is like few, whatever.
But you didn't know why, and so you just like yelled too.
But it was within the last 30 seconds of the game. So up until that point, it was 1-0. We were winning. In the last 30 seconds of the game, there was this penalty that was very controversial. It resulted in a penalty kick. So the other team got to do a kick into the goal, and they got it. So it ended up being 1-1. And then right after that, the game was pretty much over.
And they don't do overtime if it's tied?
No. It was they did like 2 minutes of overtime, but they didn't. Soccer games, they do not have to result in a clear winner. Okay. Like they result in ties all the time, I guess. So the 2 I've been to were both tie games. But,
wow. that is an upset when it's the last minute of the game and that's going down.
Yeah. So that was fun. Played the Sounders game. Yeah. And then yesterday, Sunday, I went on a big bike ride in the morning.
Nice.
And then
we're getting close.
Getting close. Away, right? I was doing the math yesterday, trying to figure out if I'm going to be able to do it in one day, because it's 206 miles from to Seattle to Portland.
103 miles a day.
So, my goal was to do it in one day. So 206 miles in a day. But
we're dividing it up into two. Okay.
So people either do it in 1 day or 2 days. People who are, more significant bikers will do it in 1 day. Others will do it in 2 days. I really wanted to get to the point that I could do it in 1 day, but I just don't think it's going to be possible.
How do you know? How do you know if you can do it?
So I'm just thinking like my average miles per hour.
Right. Okay.
So most of the time I'm going about 13 miles an hour.
Okay.
Maybe 4. Well, most of the time I'm going about 15, but then if you take in like some breaks and stuff. So if I'm averaging 13 miles an hour, 206 miles, that is 15.8 hours. So let's say 16 hours. I think it leaves at like 5 a.m. So that would put me at like 9 p.m. I think getting to Portland if I'm going the whole time.
But that's not including your breaks.
That's kind of, it's like factoring in like little breaks.
Like you could go 15 miles per hour.
Right.
For some.
For a lot. So like on most bike rides I go on, I end up the average at the end like 14 miles an hour. So if I'm give myself a few more breaks than that, let's say 13. So I mean, I could maybe do it if I leave at 5 a.m. and get there at 9 p.m. maybe, but that's a long day. So
oh my gosh,
we'll see. So I'm either doing it 1 day or 2 days. I am going to do it. I haven't signed up yet. I need to sign up still.
Okay. Registration closes.
Yeah. I don't think they cap registration because it's really just like,
Yeah. Is anybody else doing this? That you know, like with you?
No.
Nobody.
No.
You know.
There are a couple people that were talking about it, but they're not doing it anymore. So. Yeah, I need to take my training a lot more seriously than I have been. Life's been so busy. Like I've had not very much time to go on bike rides. Right. So I just need to really prioritize it the next couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the bike ride, and then pretty much went right from there to my grandparents' anniversary party, which is at my parents' house. And it was their 50th wedding anniversary, and saw the family and 50 years. Isn't that crazy?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Grandpa's doing well.
Good.
He has some dementia, for sure has dementia.
Yeah.
Has some really bad days sometimes, but I think yesterday was a good day for him. So he, seemed like he remembered who everybody was.
Wow.
He, was giving hugs. He was making some jokes, and he seemed good. Definitely tired and old and whatever. But I'm happy that he was having a good day on this day when everybody was there.
Great.
So
did you ask them what the secret to 50 years was?
I should have. No. He was definitely not super talkative, but it was just nice to see family, and grandma seemed happy, and it was very nice.
That's awesome.
My parents, they just finished their kitchen, or they're getting closer to finishing their kitchen remodel. Looks so different. It's insane.
I can't even imagine.
It's all just like opened up and crazy.
Yeah.
So you'll see it soon.
Okay.
And then did you hear the bridge? That bridge is closed?
No. What?
The bridge across Lake Steilacoom is closed. Hipkins. Have you seen all the construction that's happening?
No, but I know that bridge.
When we've met at the Fort Steilacoom Park. Yeah. There's a road like adjacent to that, a few over, that's been under construction for like a year. It feels like.
Okay.
Because that road's been closed, a lot of the big trucks have been going over the bridge. Because a lot of big trucks have been going over the bridge, it's severely like compromised the bridge.
Oh, no.
And they were having some issues. They had some like structural engineers to look at it, and they're like, you need to shut down this bridge immediately. So they're apparently determining if it can be fixed or if it'll have to be torn down and a new bridge will have to be built. So it's probably going to be closed for a long time.
And for people who don't know, that bridge is crucial to their commute.
Yes, my parents and my brother both go over that bridge, multiple times a day.
Close to it.
Yes, right next to it. There is another way you can go, but it adds, a few minutes to your drive.
Yeah.
There's a couple. You can go to I-5 or you can go, around. But it's like, it's going to, for both of them, I feel bad. It's going to severely impact their daily lives.
Oh, man.
So, it's a bummer.
Yeah. Keep us posted on that.
But I think that was my weekend. I got home, walked a little bit, finished my steps last night, and then was going to catch up on emails, but I was like, I need to go to bed.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I like that you can turn it off when you need to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was definitely feeling after the last week. I told you since Whistler, I've been coming into the office every single day, which I love coming in the office, but I really like having, a day every few days where I don't come in just because it's an hour and a half driving to get here and back.
Totally.
But I haven't had any days like that in a while. So I'm looking forward to Wednesday having like a work from home day. And
do you feel like you're totally over jet lag? Are you back to normal?
Back to normal sleeping. Yes, for sure. It took me. I mean, the first night in Whistler was the first night I actually like slept a full night. Okay. So thanks to NyQuil.
Yeah. Gotta love it.
But that was my weekend. I had one thing I want to tell you about, and it was with Stevie. Did I tell you about I don't think I told you about this. Okay.
She had a rash after you.
No. Okay. So probably a week ago, I was walking her early in the morning. Yeah. It was like a 5:30 a.m. walk, and we were going down our trail by my house. Yeah. And I go on that trail with her almost every day. Yeah. And she does great. She's off leash every day. Yep. She usually is good. Usually she stays pretty close to me. For whatever reason, on this morning, she saw something across. There's like a little river creek that runs through it. Yeah. Have we done this walk with you guys?
No,
okay, we should. It's beautiful. So there's this little river creek, and all of a sudden, she saw something or heard something. Mm-hmm. She darted across this creek. Yeah. I couldn't see her. I lost her. Yeah. 10 seconds later, she does the worst cry I've ever heard from her.
Oh, no.
It sounded like she was being attacked. Oh. I legitimately thought that a coyote had attacked her. Mm-hmm. And she did that cry, and I was yelling. Couldn't see her. Yelling at the top of my lungs, like, come over here. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. And she finally came back over to me, like 30 seconds later. I couldn't see her. Yeah. I was going over. I was just about to cross the creek to go up to the other side. Yeah. It was just like somewhat deep. And thankfully, she came back over to me, and she was very scared. Her ears were back. Her tail was down. I have no idea what happened. I searched her whole body. I immediately, like, I didn't have her leash, which was, because I do off leash every day. Right. I grabbed her collar, and I was a half mile down the trail. Yeah. We walked all the way back to the house with me holding her collar. Oh, how and scary. I like brought her in. Brian and I like inspected every inch of her body to look for bites or something. Yeah. Nothing. And I still don't know what happened, but I thought she was gone. I thought she was dead.
That is so terrifying.
It was horrible. I have PTSD from it. Like within the last week, I've had multiple times where I like hear something, or like if and it's like, when I was telling my mom about this, I like broke down. I could not handle it. And man, it was so scary. I literally thought she was gone. I thought I was going to have to like carry her body back or like, and
I couldn't imagine hearing that sound.
It was
that you
horrible.
Heard. And then, but also, okay, so in Whistler, we were told, I didn't see any, but there were like multiple black bear sightings. Did you hear about, there was one here in Tacoma?
No.
There was a black bear at, down by us at Titlow Beach Park area. And then apparently over at Point Defiance, I think they've captured it now. But to me, it's that unknown of like the wildlife that's out there. Yeah. That you're just like, what if?
I'm sad though, because I walk her off leash every day, and I probably won't walk her off leash anymore. At least maybe during the daylight. I don't know. It was maybe just too early in the morning or something. Yeah. I don't know. It's horrible.
A weird, like that like series of events that like she saw something, made that sound, but then had anything, like had nothing to show for it.
I've speculated what might have happened. Like sometimes she'll dart after like bunnies or squirrels. Yeah. Or she'll, she's never killed. I know Stella has a track record with
I actually
bunnies.
have a story.
Do you?
Okay.
Anyway, but I don't think it could have been that. I don't know why she would have screamed like that. Maybe they or maybe it was a coyote that growled at her. I really don't know. But I literally for 30 seconds thought that she was gone. Ugh. It was horrible. It was horrible. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
What's your Stella story?
I'm glad she came home unharmed. So this weekend, Chad and I had taken her out for a long walk on Saturday. And then we got back home, and one of us, he shall be named. What is it?
She, they. One of them.
He shall remain nameless. Chattersky left the gate open, and so if that happens, she likes to dart for it. So, but it was enough of a. Like I was like, wait, did she leave? Like maybe she's around the house in the yard somewhere, and she hasn't realized it's open. So I was walking around the house. Or I was inside the house, but I was looking out of our windows, and I noticed on the side of our house, there was a bunch of trash. And I was like, okay, so she's not there, but I noticed there's a bunch of trash. So she's obviously gotten into something, and she's brought it over there. So, so she's out running around the neighborhood. Chad goes to clean up the trash on the side of the house. And then he says, hey, can you step outside with me? And it's like, he's clearly trying to get me to come out away from the children.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh gosh, what is it? So I kind of go out, we like go out into this, we're just kind of walking out into the street and just seeing if we can get eyes on her. We don't see her anywhere. But what's funny is because of where we were, it gets caught on the Ring camera. And he's basically like, hey, I need you to come look at what she's done. And I know immediately, like, because he's asking me to come see, I know it's an animal, like she's killed something. So I'm like, I really don't want to see that. He's like, he says, Levy, I can't be the only one to have this image in my head. And I'm like, please do not make me come see this. And he's like, I can't be alone in this. You have to come. And so he takes me to the side of the house. I'm like looking for fur. I'm looking to see what, and then it's like little baby somethings. And
chickens or ducks?
We're thinking maybe bunnies, possibly baby rats, but they're small. And there's a lot of them. Like, I want to say 12. Oh. It's a full-on massacre.
Oh my God.
It is rats. Part of me is thankful.
You don't know what they are?
I don't.
You didn't get it close enough, or either so small?
So small. I mean, this is a couple inches.
So it was like a fresh litter.
I'm like, so what is like? Because I was asking Chad. I was like, did she like kill a mom? And then this is what He's like, there's nothing to give that evidence. It had to have been these.
Maybe there was like a nest there or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So, do we need to put a trigger warning on this episode?
Safe. Caution.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So friends, I'm sorry. My dog is this murderer.
Stella.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's
what a way to end this episode.
That's all I got for you guys. Oh, but the funny part is I have to show you the video.
You're feeding her, right?
I'm feeding her. And we give her lots of attention. She seems very happy with her life. And she still chooses murder. The funny part is on the Ring camera, you catch the conversation of him being like, please don't make me. And I am like, I can't. Yeah. Anyways. Well,
you know what sucks? I've heard Dax and Monica on their show talk about this sometimes.
Yeah.
It would suck to be the parent of a serial killer.
Absolutely.
Because you raise this child and you're like, what did I do wrong as a parent to like for this person to end up the way they did?
I know we need to wrap it up, but I do want to say, so Allie, my oldest, was very aggressive when she was little. Have I told you this?
I don't think so.
She was a very bad biter.
Yeah.
To the point where it prevented me from wanting to have more kids at first.
Oh, wow.
She was that aggressive. She started biting when she was 11 months old. And one family, I'm not laughing about it, but one family left the preschool because their child was bit so much by my child. And it was one of those things. I was so burdened by it. I felt so awful. I bit her back once. It did nothing to stop her. She could talk very well. People were like, oh, biting is a sign that they are struggling to communicate. They say in early childhood, it's an unwanted but normal behavior. Okay. Like hitting and scratching and pinching, those things that kids do. It's like their way of trying to engage because they don't have the words yet. No, this child could speak just fine. Still chose to bite. And not just bite, but she would I just remember seeing her at like a mall playground, indoors. They have those little like climbing structures. Yeah. And she'd be on top of there. And another kid would come up and she would just like push them off. No
remorse.
No, nothing. Like it was just out of the blue. So now she's the sweetest person.
Yeah.
And feels very guilty over the slightest, misstep.
Yeah.
So, but I remember thinking like, I've done something horribly wrong. I can't. So, and that was for biting, Yeah. No one actually died.
Not getting 12 little babies.
Maybe it's me. You're like actually now knowing Stella and Allie's history. Yeah.
Well, thankfully, Stella's going to grow out of it. It seems like if she follows Allie's trend.
I really hope so. Yeah. Has Stevie never killed anything?
Not that I know of, but
interesting.
She killed my heart when she.
Oh, that sound. I couldn't
imagine
hearing it.
I keep hearing it in my head. It's horrible.
And then now, so have you gone back on that trail?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I mean, not because I haven't wanted to. It's just been
you've been busy.
Yeah.
But maybe next time or something.
Yeah.
Hey.
All right.
On that note, thanks, friends.
Thanks, Jamie.
See you for our 30th episode.
Oh my gosh, big 30. Bye.
Bye.